Hello everyone and welcome to the Gunpla Network. I'm the Spicer and today's unboxing of the high-grade Gundam Astray Blueframe 2nd L is brought to you by Canadian Gundam. Canadian Gundam is your one-stop shop for all your Gunpla and Plamo needs here in North America. The vast catalog of private warehouse and flat-rate shipping in Canada and the US, they've got your back covered. When you're placing your next order, don't forget to use the promo code Gunpla Network to save 10% off. The MBF P03 2nd L, or the Gundam Astray Blueframe 2nd L, is kinda the titular version of the Blueframe Astray. If you're unfamiliar with the whole Astray line, they're mobile suits that show up in the Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Astray side stories. There's extensions into Destiny and a bunch of other stuff. A lot of different manga, but the two main initial ones I think are Astray Red and Astray Blue, or Astray R and Astray B, which focus on these two units, the Red Frame Astray and the Blue Frame. Altogether, Orb made 4 different Astray units: the Red Frame, the Blue Frame, the Gold Frame, and the Green Frame, I think. They're all kind of basically the same. They're all very base units. They serve as the test beds, if you will, for the M1 Astrays that Orb would go on to use later in Gundam Seed and in Gundam Seed Destiny. That being said, the 2nd L is visually fairly different from the base version, as its pilot Gai Murakumo has really gone through and changed a lot of this up. With the help of the Red Frame's pilot, this really features one of the most unique arms, or weapon systems rather, that any of the Astrays get. The Red Frame has something pretty similar, so they're kind of the same basic function, but this one's got a slight difference. So the tactical arms, which is kind of the big thing on the back of the unit, has 3 different forms, and it's fairly unique to just the Blue Frame. So it has a flight form that kind of serves as like a strike ale pack, if you will. It's all about high maneuverability. It's kind of a wing shape. It's not necessarily, since it is kind of a multi-function thing, it's not necessarily the most direct wing flight looking unit thing, but it does kind of serve that purpose. It has its sword form, which is a 20-meter long sword in lore, so this is longer in its sword form than most your base Gundams are off the bat. They're usually 18 to 19 meters, so this is much, much bigger. This is pretty crazy. It's, I think, actually bigger than the Blue Frame if you measure, it is bigger than the Blue Frame if you measure top to bottom. And then the most unique thing to the Blue Frame, and kind of the most iconic, is the Gatling Gun form. So the Gatling Gun is center mass of the sword. Pretty much the 2 blades fold out and pin down into the ground, or whatever the Blue Frame is standing on. And it's a 4-barreled 90mm Gatling gun that I think is split 50-50 between physical and beam weaponry. So it can do a little of both, which is pretty cool. Especially with Seed having things like the phase shift armor that negate pretty much all your physical attacks. It's nice to have the backup. But this is something that the Red Frame doesn't have. It does have a similar look, and it has the sword form, but it doesn't have the Gatling gun, so really cool to see here. Outside of that, we do get the Armor Schneider combat blades, which are pretty cool. There's a total of 6 of them, and I believe in this model kit we're only going to get 2 of them on the hips. I think there's some that pop out of the feet, but I don't remember if we get any plastic for that. But it is really cool to see this. Now, until I had actually popped this open and started looking at it, I totally forgot I've built one of these kind of in the past. So way back, I think 2015, I had entered GBWC, the first and only time I've done so, with a combination Red Frame, Blue Frame, and I built technically half, I guess technically like maybe a third of the Blue Frame for that, which pretty much was just part of the torso and the leg. Didn't mess with the shoulders, so I have a very vague sense of how this kit is going to go, but I don't remember messing with the tactical arms at all. I don't remember how the shoulders work. I didn't use the V-fin for the head, so I'm not really sure how that's going to work, but generally speaking, very excited. It's a really cool, iconic look, and the Blue Frame is a pretty solid kit to look at. Now, the box itself is pretty standard fare for the Gundam Seed line. The beautiful artwork on the front is illustrated by Morishita Nachika, and shows us the Blueframe 2nd L pulling, or drawing rather, the tactical arms in sword mode. And it goes to show you how big this sword is. Like I said in the lore section, it's 20 meters tall, so it's actually taller than the mobile suit itself, but it takes up almost as much box real estate as the Blueframe. So it is really showing you, hey, this is a big chunk of plastic. We don't get any other mobile suits on the box, just an explosion in the background. So maybe it's trying to sheath the sword instead of pulling it out. It's kind of hard to tell, but it's a cool dynamic pose regardless. Of course, this is the high-grade Gundam seed line, so this is not a revised kit. This is the base 2013 version. No major updates have been made since then. We have the Blueframe Astray really coming from Gundam Seed Destiny Astray B, or being credited to at least. Like I said, with the red frame and blue frame, they're in a lot of stuff, so they kind of have their main line, but they show up a lot of other places. Of course, we have the blue Bandai logo, we have the Gundam Astray Blueframe 2nd L and its designation, with it being 57 in the line, and then it coming out in 2013. Now, along the side of the box, we have the kind of more gimmicky side showing us the tactical arms in all of its glory, as well as the sticker sheet that it comes with it. It's really cool to get these. I wish they would have carried this on from the seed line, because having these little sticker markings for high grades is really neat. They're not big enough usually that you can see the outline of the sticker too bad, like with a master grade, but they're, better than nothing. But of course, they're not tri-transfers or anything else like that. Just a nice little inclusion that's not all that expensive to include. The tactical arms has its sword mode, its Gatling mode, and then of course a little stand to hold it in sword mode, because it's a lot of plastic, a lot of moving parts in there, so it's not going to be hollow. It is going to weigh this kit down, and we see that a little bit more, as even in flight mode, it's showed using the stand, meaning this is probably going to be pretty back heavy too. We'll see. I'll mess with it once I get it built to see if it's actually that back heavy, if you can make it stand. But generally speaking, this kind of gives me a little cause for concern. It's nice that it comes with a stand, just kind of wish maybe it wouldn't need it. But the blue frame looks very striking, with the white, the blue, the black, and the orange, all fairly contrasting colors. It's really cool to see them. Of course, this model on the box is painted, so we can assume there's probably going to be a fair amount of stickers on here, and we're not going to get to those little white finger guards, which is a little disappointing, but for something like this is not all that surprising. Now, along the other side is all of our lore for the Gundam Astray Blueframe 2nd L. It does very kind of minutely show up in a short animation for the Astrays. They didn't show up in Gundam Seed or Gundam Seed Destiny, but they had a little, it was like a 5-minute short that the various versions of the red and blue frame show up in. So we get some still frames from that. We get Gai, who's a pretty cool looking guy. And then of course all the warnings and the barcode. Now in the box, the plastic is mostly separated. There's really not any plate in here that has multiple colors on it, but the A1 plate is all blue. Pretty much looks like it's mostly the original basic blue frame with some parts added on for the 2nd L. A2 is the complementary plate, so it's got all the other parts for the other side of the mobile suit. Then we have the B plate making up the rest of the unique blue plastic for the 2nd L version, such as the kind of base for the sword. We have the V-fin and all that fun stuff there. We move into the C plate, at least C1, all in black, which makes up pretty much the rest of the frame. So it's not the armor, but it is going to be like the feet and some of the little detail parts that pop out and some of the weaponry. C2 plate is the complementary plate to C1, so pretty much all the same stuff if there's two sides to it, such as the armor Schneider sleeves and the armor Schneiders themselves. Moving on to the D plates, we have D1 making up pretty much all the white armor on the outside of the mobile suit. It's very nice. Looks like there's going to be some cool panel lining opportunity, and of course with the red and blue frame, those calves are very distinctive and have some cool part separation in there. Then we have that complementary plate in D2 for the rest of everything else. once again molded in white, but it actually looks like these are all unique pieces, so maybe not complementary to D1, but it is molded in the same color. Then we have the E-plate in orange, which is only 2 pieces, so that is a little concerning, especially seeing that sticker sheet behind it. Then we have the PC joints, all molded in blue, pretty standard fare, nothing to really write home about here. Now the sticker sheet, bunch of blue stickers, bunch of white stickers, bunch of orange stickers. Very kind of concerned about this because none of those areas really looked that flat except for the orange on the sword, so we'll see. I hope this goes fairly well. It looks like some of these have some cuts in them, so a little concerned. Then we get the decal sticker sheet, which once again, very excited. We have some serpent tail stickers in there and then some 1 stickers, or I guess that's an L, maybe. Then we get the manual, same artwork from the box, really cool looking, and you know, it's kind of pretty just standard fare there. Now I have to say, I'm pretty excited for this. As I mentioned, I kind of built half of this, but I didn't build the interesting parts of this, so I'm really excited to take a crack at the tactical arms and mess with its different modes and see how back heavy this kit is going to be. I'm hoping it's not too bad, but I guess I'll find out pretty shortly. Those stickers have me a little concerned, and we'll see. I think this is going to be one of those kits that a little bit of paint goes a long way. You're not going to have to repaint the whole thing, but there's some detail parts that are very well served with little bits here and there. One thing I am concerned about is a lot of those white stickers are going to be really difficult to repaint if I decide to do so in the future. So maybe I'll have some color variation and just use some gray. We'll see. I don't know if I'll paint it, but generally speaking, very excited. 2013 being a little newer than some of the kits. I'm expecting maybe not necessarily advancements in articulation necessarily, but maybe a little bit more stability. I've built kind of the red frame base, or I guess the red and blue frame have kind of the same base, so I know generally it's not too bad, it's fairly maneuverable, but with those tactical arms, it's a different ballgame. It's going to be a lot back heavier. All of its poses, with the exception of the Gatling mode, are going to be a little more difficult, so we'll kind of see how that goes. I'm excited to mess around with it, see what I can get done, but hopefully it's not too frustrating. But I'll let you guys know once I've got it built. If you have built it, pop those comments down below. Let me know what you think about the kit. Did you have anything that was frustrating that I need to look out for, or were you overall pretty pleased? And of course, if you haven't bought this kit but you're thinking about it, pop some comments down below and I'll do my best to answer them. As always, friends, I've been the Spicer here for the Gunpla Network. Please be sure to subscribe for more content like this and leave a like if you've enjoyed my ramblings for the last 10 minutes. And, of course, stay safe and keep on building.